Hello and welcome to Randoms. We are back again with another edition of Amabishop. We we are treated. I think this episode was very
You was a
draining.
lot.
Not just training, because I got to see certain things that were alarming for me, and it worries me, Emily, if I don't need to stay with a certain person to actually see who they are by what they speak and how they speak, and then I make a person out of that. We will discuss these characters as we go along the way. But let us greet our people and let's remind you, please subscribe to our channel. The main aim here is always then to advocate for what seems closer to truth, if not exactly the truth. We are not apologetic. We are not any form of a church. We are just going through what you go through when you're watching your TV. But now maybe we're adding certain parts that you are not having of knowing and dissenting.
Yeah, and maybe you're not sure about some of the things. We are dissecting it with you, and hopefully, it can help you make the best decisions for yourself. Okay, the topic on today's Amabishop was all about ukuhlukumeza kwabantu under the hands of lady bishops in the church. So the first person who came to tell their story was Sis Paulista, Madam P, as she's known. Allegedly, she's an advocate for victims that have been that have not been treated well by a certain bishop in Bloemfontein. So, and that bishop is a lady. So she's saying that this particular lady bishop is from Timothy Omotoso.
Yeah, church, yeah.
We all know Timothy Omotoso is that pastor that got imprisoned and was going through trial for many allegations. His list was horrific.
Yes.
And he's still in prison now, allegedly.
And there's a woman holding the church.
Yeah, but this is one of the spiritual daughter.
But what? Okay.
So she's saying that the woman never really hlukumezed her personally, but she went to the church to fellowship with them. Like, she liked how this woman preached, and she was an apostle. This is Paulista telling us the journey that she went through under the hands of these women. And Paulista also said she herself is a pastor. I think she also is. She calls herself an apostle. Yeah, an apostle. So she's also in this ministry thing. So she got close with this lady bishop. She says she invited her to her house, and at the time she felt honored to sleep at mommy's house. She says they called her mommy. Mommy.
Yeah, everyone is called. Even the reverend there is called Reverend Ma Sofia, right? Yeah.
Okay, so she had dreams. Now she says she slept at this lady's house, and at the lady's house she had a dream. She dreamt of herself and this woman doing things.
Not the pastor though, not the bishop though. The lady. Let me say the third person because there's a bishop and there's her, and then there's this woman that
She calls her granny.
Yeah.
She refers to her as granny.
okay, yeah, that's the woman. So basically, to cut this or to make it clear, these two people they dreamt about each other, and they dreamt about things that were similar. They dreamt about having intercourse, both of them with each other. So I'll dream you, you dream me, and then they talked about it.
Now, she says that at the time that it happened, she did not pay attention. She went to this lady bishop to tell her her dream, and the response from the lady bishop is that, what was the response?
Oh, it happened.
Yeah, oh, it happened.
Like she was expecting it for it to happen. Actually,
That's what she said. Can you believe it, guys? And then she says that until another girl came to her and began to tell her a story. The same girl, she was around she was a teenager. Let's just say she was a teenager, and she complained and confessed to Paulista, Lady P, that she's also had similar experience with the Lady Bishop.
But physically in this case, because it was not a dream. Yes,
it wasn't a dream.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Emily, I'm sorry. I think we need to talk about this thing and be honest. When the pastor was arrested, I'm talking about Omotos. Someone would expect the church to shut down.
To be closed.
Because
and anyone who was ordained by him to not practice.
Yes. That is the best form of protection for our people. Because it can be that you take the head, you leave the body moving. You understand? There are certain animals who do not need a head actually. They always grow a new head. You kill this one, it grows. So this is what is happening. I wouldn't put it far. Obviously, it's an allegation, but you would expect that church to actually operate in that manner.
Of chaos.
Yeah, because it was created, the foundation is chaos.
True.
The foundation is chaotic. You don't need the Bible to discern that. You don't even need to put yourself closer to that such churches, because how can you be safe in a church that was protecting this man?
I don't know if we are allowed to say the L word. Are we allowed? Let's just say it.
L word. Why should we say the L word?
A woman who are attracted to other women.
Oh, okay.
So she's saying that Paulista, Lady P, is saying that she's confessing that she had the spirit of ubu lesbian. And she says when she talked to this other young girl who had confessed to her, she said she also confessed that she was a lesbian. However, she said, I am allowed to be in this ministry. And that's when alarms started going off in her head. You could say, what is this? Where am I? How can a pastor I'm allowed, you know?
So in a form of allowing, then I want to clarify in this case, because
Clarify.
you are allowed to go to any church.
Yes.
It is up to people to look at you and say that we cannot associate with you, because I mean, remember, fellowshipping is and being in a church is like a certain group, obviously.
Yes.
And they also have their values other than what, these days they also have more than what God wants for them. So if they see that you do not fit, then they have the right then to say, if the whole church says, no, we don't need you here, then you obviously would have to leave. But then the problem, I think what she was trying to explain is that I'm allowed to practice this. Now, this is a total different story now. Because if you are allowed to practice a certain behavior that even in the Bible was never allowed, it was there, but it was never allowed. Do you understand? I mean, we're not going to shy away from that. When Sodom and Gomorrah happened, those are things that were happening.
Yes. The problem with it comes as someone who's a pastor.
Yeah.
Condoning and saying it is allowed as if they are God themselves, while 90% of the people whose domination you lead are saying the opposite. The book that you preach and smash in people's faces is saying the opposite. And you say the opposite of what that book is saying, then it becomes a problem. We pickly, or you are confusing people. That's where the problem is. I don't think the problem is with people. Whoever they choose to live their lifestyles, they can live their lifestyles however they choose. But if I'm gonna say this is a book I believe in, this is a book I preach, this is a book I practice, and then you go and tell people the opposite of what this book is saying, then that's a problem. That's where the problem comes in.
That is what I'm trying to actually say. That it is not for us, obviously, to tell you, but it is for us to pray for you. If we are Christian, say we are Christian and we abide by Christian rules, then it is for us to pray for you.
Not to hate you, no.
Not to hate you, but to enable you and allow you to practice this thing in church and say that you have that freedom. This is where now we go against what Christianity is all about.
Now, Lady P also spoke of an incident that very much disturbed me, of a 12 or 13-year-old girl who was constantly living in that house, and they said she came out bleeding, and she was saying that mommy was doing things to her.
The bishop lady. It is alleged that was the case, and what disturbs me the most is the response that the Lady P gets when whether this thing is the truth or whether this thing is not true. If you do not have facts also as a person who's receiving and hearing it, I do not understand how you can go on and sort of deflect and defend, or not even defend per se, because by you deflecting, in a sense, you are indirectly defending that person. So this is where now we are going to hear about...
Yeah, because Lady Bishop confessed to Paulista and said that she had the same dream. And the problem with this thing is that Paulista is saying that she related exactly the same dream.
Hence, I think we have exhausted that part.
And then Julius Mulomo, that's where you want us to go.
Yeah.
Julius Mulomo is a bishop, a pastor. We've seen him before on Amabishop. He was representing Pastor Zondo at the time.
Was he representing?
It felt like
he was
on the side
on agreement
of Bishop Zondo at the time that Mojalav did a whole special of Amabishop when Bishop Zondo, they interviewed him outside of his church. That pastor was there.
Can I say something?
Okay.
Because I don't want to for us to come up as some channel that is trying to attack certain people.
Okay.
Most of the things that man was saying at the time when Zondo was there, they were like sort of in line with what Zondo was actually saying. I won't say he was defending Zondo, but there was that sort of agreement when they were talking. That is how we listened to it, and that's how we felt. We are not going to say that's a gospel truth of what we are saying. It was our experience, and obviously it sounded in our experience, and I would say also on top of saying our experience, allegedly sounded that he was more defending at the time.
Now, he says that he has a problem with victims not speaking for themselves. The very same victims that it may seem like he was trying to get out of Paulista. So he has a serious problem with the fact that Paulista is narrating stories of other people instead of those people narrating for themselves. Now, Mr. Anonymous, I had a problem with it because Paulista was telling her story. And from telling her story, she also told the story of this young girl, because this young girl came and confessed to her. And my problem is, since this young girl is underage, why does Pastor Julius care to know who the victims are?
When Paulista was telling her story, she sort of laid the story down and tried to narrate on the other victims being there. Now, the problems that I saw there is, first of all, a pastor, we're still going to go there. because you read it halfway and it gives
Okay, let me
me
finish.
problems to.
He also said that people who like to make themselves heroes, he has a problem with people that like to take on heroship roles.
In that point,
Now,
referring to Palestine.
yes, Nimrod asked him or asked Paulista that, do you have ulterior motives? And Paulista said that she is telling her own story of being in the ministry, living 2 years as a lesbian. Now, Bishop Julius also said that since he has a problem with this, Paulista revealed more information on the Bishop Julius. She said that she's friends with Julius. Julius knows him and he knew about the relationship. So he knows him back from home, the same kasi, they're from the same kasi, and that they have a relationship. Julius is Paolista's friend, or was Paolista's friend. Paulista confessed everything to Julius and told him about this situation that she was in of being in a relationship with a lesbian.
And then Julius refuted everything.
No, he said he doesn't know that story and he does not know Paulista.
And then he went on, then after denouncing, he admitted that he is actually suing Paulista.
Yes, 500,000.
500,000 for what, defamation of?
Yeah, defamation of character. She's speaking ill of him on social media.
Okay. Now, there is a problem. The first problem is that we need to address the issues when we are on that show. We need to address the issues the way they are. We cannot go there, try to verify. Do you understand?
Yeah.
If you come in that platform and you say that you've been abused in a form of whatever form, or you are coming to that platform, whether you are telling the truth or lies, that was up to producers to actually determine that beforehand. Now, once it aired, now it becomes the issue of discussing the topic. So if this guy comes in, which is, what's the name?
Julius.
This is where I have a problem with. He's not addressing the problem.
No.
He's addressing what could be the case. What if you are lying? What if you are actually not telling your story, you're telling people's story? But the point is, you are here to actually denounce or not denounce whatever that is said on that show. So by you deflecting, then we are going to have to categorize you in a sense and say that you are actually in agreement with what was said.
With the immorality.
Which is not what we want, because we wanted to hear your side of the story.
Yes.
But you ended up not saying what is the side of, because there are two sides in the story.
Yes.
It's either you are in or out.
Or out.
Do you understand?
You know?
So once you start now deflecting and going in a direction where the topic was never supposed to go to, it becomes a problem. And it makes me wonder, why is Moja Love allowing you to come in and advocate for I don't know whether for pastors or defend pastors. I don't know what is your position in that show.
It was very weird. Paulista says that she doesn't have a reason to lie. And she says, yes, me and Julius visited Mboro at some point, and we also visited some pastors from Nigeria. She was there when he was ordained, and she even disclosed of the information.
There. She was not there. She was called by him when he was ordained, and he said, now I am... What is it, Bishop?
Yes, Bishop.
You should always refer to me as Bishop. And he said the word that is, I think that is the word that they normally use together. That's why Paulista is calling him a friend, because they have even sort
called
of private.
Each other.
Yeah.
And also told of the fact that there were some women who were contacting Paulista asking for his numbers. So they were feeling whatever they were feeling, the weakness that they were feeling.
Whatever Paulista was feeling when he got into that bishop's church, it is almost similar to that. That's the feeling that I got on that. So, basically, there is a spirit But before we get into spirit, because there is a pastor that we need to actually read to, this Reverend Ma Sofia. That's where I want you to go to before we summarize this whole thing.
All right. So you want us to go to the pastor with makeup. Her name is
It's
Reverend Ma
Ma
Sofia.
yes.
Yes, Reverend Ma Sofia said that Paulista must not call this thing as a weakness.
Which is lesbianism in a case.
Yes, she loved it, and that's why she stayed in there for 2 years.
It conflicts me, I mean, when someone who's reverend saying that. So that means you are not believing, or you are not advocating the same Bible that you read. Do you understand? Because remember, according to society, we might have created laws,
Yes.
but the Bible is not amended in that sense. The Bible is not amended, and we should say what the Bible says.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yes.
When that happened in that Sodom and Gomorrah, there was a punishment that happened there.
Yes.
So I'm not saying that we have to look at that punishment, but in my interpretation, it is important for a Christian to denounce such. You do not need to come as a psychology and explain now the logic behind it, such that you are even avoiding the fact that when it comes to Christianity, we are talking about spirit. Remember, Christianity on its own, it's spirit.
It's
We
spiritual.
are always going to be talking about spiritual things. So this woman was addressing the spiritual elements in a sense that they were dreams, and these dreams were common. And that could not be a coincidence. And to make matters even simpler, even with our cultures, we have imithi yokumemeza abantu, where we actually use them to share and get a woman to love you and all that. That is a spirit on its own. When you push that thing, when you call someone's name on your hand and you have some mixture, concocted something, it is a spirit. Now, for a pastor or a reverend of some note to come here on television and denounce cancel such spirituality, what are you standing for?
I was finding myself very confused looking at her. I was very confused. I couldn't digest what she was saying.
What is she
She
standing
was
for?
speaking like a commoner.
Like she was speaking like a psychologist or some sort of someone who's an unbeliever in a sense.
Yeah, she was speaking like an unbeliever. Easier said, way better than me. Like an unbeliever, like a person who's
This is
not
someone's
in
reverend. This is someone whom at some point you are going to consult and talk the matters of spirit.
Well, Paulista also said that Mami confronted them and the other lady she was with, and she told them, meaning this thing you are ruining it, because they
Whatever that
moved
she
in
gave them.
together. Yes.
Yes.
They moved in together, and she was telling them that this thing you are ruining it. Okay, this has nothing to do with love. It's done by me as a vision barrier.
There you go. Now, she is actually admitting to have created a certain spirit that when they are together with this woman, they should have an intercourse. Now, whatever that spirit does after that in a form of benefits, because it can be that you are just creating those spirits, it must be some sort of a benefit. Now, this is where this reverend is not coming in.
This is where she should have enlightened people on how they can protect themselves against such spirits.
Instead of talking about psychology, and then talking about how I feel like she's confused. She's confused. She came as a reverend there, but
she left the reverend back somewhere and decided
I don't know what
to
qualification she has. She decided to go to a qualification.
Maybe she didn't want to offend the community.
That's a thing. We are not looking for someone to be famous there. We are looking for someone to tell the truth, and that platform is meant for a truth.
And then Nimrod yambuza usisipalisa ukuthi, were you in love at some point? And upalisa uthi no, she was not in love. She was caught in a moment of weakness. And she describes it as likening it to being possessed.
Yeah. Now, what I want to ask, when you say that she must admit that she was in love, now I have a question for Reverend, and obviously for Nimrod, is when I call you at night, and I don't call you directly, I call you through spirit, and you end up loving me. The question is, are you in love with me? Should we take that as love, or should we take that as some spirit playing you?
Good question.
Because
even
what
within
she was trying to
thing.
Even with Ntando, when I put some extra
Love.
medicine there so that you start loving me more.
Can we say that
that is pure love that has increased to 100%? That you cannot even disagree with me.
Now,
it surprises me to hear Africans, people who understand what they've ran away from, some of them, because of maybe Christianity. They know these things exist, but to ignore them, it's a very dangerous thing to do.
They are ignoring them, you guys. They're ignoring, they're cancelling out
the
spiritual element.
You can dissent, but to ignore and say these things don't exist, it's a lie. It's like when the Bible says that Christians do not die per se. Do you understand? Now, it does not necessarily mean that you are going to just live forever. There is a process, and that process must be observed for you to actually now go and have that promised life. You are going to have to die. That is why even Jesus had to die. Now, if someone comes and say, no, but there is no such. No, they are there. But there is a way, if you accept God fully, maybe you can say, I will descend.
So she also says that she stayed at this woman's place because she was from the Northwest and the place was in the Free State. And she says, yes, the woman was in love with her to such an extent that she even tried to delete herself after they broke up. However, she cannot say that she was in love.
She was not a lesbian at first. It came then after 2 years and then it ended.
Yes.
So it was a spirit that came.
According to Paulista.
And that's what Paulista says. And I would accept that.
Well, Pastor Mathepo Mukaban, on the other hand, is asking if the crime was committed concerning the little girl who Paulista was talking about. Then they should have called the police and they should have declared that church a crime scene, and the law should have taken its course.
Why do you have this committee that is dealing with certain pastors?
CRL.
What are the outcomes there? How many people have been victimized and they took years?
Result, I'm sorry.
Even now, a normal person, let's forget about Christianity. There are people who are victimized and they still keep it to themselves and until such time when they are read. Now, on a matter of when it was said and how it was said, when someone comes to you and say, this is the case, but for now, can you hold it for me? I will take an action at a certain time. Even Omotoso himself, the pastor who's arrested now, it wasn't a case. It was never an immediate thing. That's why the case took long.
Even now, he's not formally charged. Like, it's not done. He's still waiting in prison for another court date.
That's why the case is taking long, because evidence has been at some point tampered with, I would say. Now, for a woman to come and say, but you were supposed to 1, 2, 3. Remember, this is trauma.
It's traumatic.
So it is easy for you to come and say, but this is what you are supposed to do because you are not part of that.
Well, she also says, Reverend Ma Sofia, she is denouncing what Paulista is saying with it concerns to her experience, and she's saying she shouldn't call it a moment of weakness, but rather liken it to a lifestyle that she chose at the time.
Isn't a lifestyle can be looked at as a moment of weakness. So if I decide to drink today and get drunk and become weak, isn't that a moment of weakness? And it's a lifestyle that I chose to live. For someone of her to reason like that, it disturbs me. She looks like she was never prepared for this. She looks like she's actually a lost cause.
My problem with her is trying to bring in education aspect and theories and concepts without even quoting scripture to support what she's saying. That is what I found traumatic for me listening to her.
I'm also
I'm traumatized.
The same way.
I don't know what to say. Like she.
You get pissed when you look at it, when you listen to her speaking.
Okay, so she was saying that it was Paulista submitting under the spirit Yabu lesbian, and she calls it influence. And
she doesn't call it spirit, she calls it influence. Yes.
Okay, now we have another victim, Minister Lerato.
Yeah, just Minister Lerato, just go through the whole thing very
now
fast.
She says that she was emotionally abused by the women in the church. So at her church, the women there who were part of the pastoral commission had decided to pick a wife for her husband, who was the pastor of that church. So that is what she had to go through, fighting these women and really trying and fighting hard to claim a position in the church.
Yeah.
And they were not having it. They were influencing her husband. They even got another woman, another lady to come to the church.
Ex-husband, right?
Yes, it's an ex-husband now. So they got another lady. They bought that and they paid that lady to come into her marriage and disrupt it.
What I would say to this woman is first of all, I would actually try to be more in line with the who's this pastor, the last one?
Pastor Matepo.
Yeah. In a sense that you have to pray for such. If you are going to get into a covenant, because this is a covenant.
Yeah.
For any marriage, you don't have to take it at the face value. It must be that you have, if you are an ancestor person, for talk to them. If you are a Christian, talk to them. Talk to God. Because other things, when they come to you, it is not of your God. It is things that are given to you because of your heart desire. And your heart can lead you to a very dry place. Can lead you to a place where you cannot turn back, because that is how the devil works. It works with what you desire. Whether it is right or wrong, it brings it to you. Now, the fact that it brings marriage, it doesn't make it right if it is not coming from
God.
the part where you believe in.
And even people as Christians, we forget sometimes that even the devil knows our heart's desires. It's not just God. So sometimes you pray for something and it happens.
No,
you have to discern whether it's coming from God or it's coming from the devil.
Hey, that's exactly. Even people that we live with, people that are spiritual, people that can actually go to another dimension, they can see what you desire. Most people that go to abantu that are prophets, even if they are not prophets of Christianity or Inyanga that are ordained by proper ancestors, there's middle part, but they still see the same thing because of what you desire. So once your spirit, that's why they would say perpetual, and then you would be like, and then that now from there they have your spirit. Now they are connected to you. Now they can see what you've been thinking about all this time.
Now, Reverend Ma Sofia also disturbed me yet again when she said that some people have inner child traumas and the fact that some people, when they come to the church, they have daddy issues. And they look at the pastor and they have a pick me spirit. Pick me, pastor, pick me.
Now,
The sermon touches them so much that they see a father figure in a pastor.
this is where the problem is. Does that warranty you if someone is vulnerable to actually sodomize them? That's why I say this woman was never prepared for this part. I've never been following her that much in a sense, but now I'm gonna start paying more attention because what she was saying was out of line. What she was saying is correct in a sense that other people do see that.
In a psychological perspective, you can use that, but in a church, please don't try and justify the immorality of people that have assumed leadership positions in the church. Don't do that. Don't excuse their behavior. You are creating a monster.
That's why I'm saying this platform is there to speak and denounce the pastors that are not right. And that you should read it as it is. That platform of Amabishop is for that. To expose and denounce. But if you are going to come and explain now the part of victims, after they've been explained, in this case, you accept whatever that is given to you it is and you advise upon it.
I would take her what she was saying if she was a psychologist and she was sitting there as a psychologist. Manje, the problem is you're sitting there as a pastor and it sounds like you are excusing the immorality of the pastors. That is very disturbing. It's not okay.
I think that's it on my side. Today, we are done because most of these people that were there was no... In fact, we miss Mampong.
Yeah, Bishop Mampong, he speaks a lot of sense.
Even though at some point he can actually get carried away and confused.
But he also came and made a powerful impact. I feel like when she speaks, they connect like Mapong.
I've never heard.
Oh, you've never heard her.
I'm not going to attest for him. But in any case, guys, that's it for now. Let us like these videos and share. And that's it from us. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah.